What is up, fuckers? Terry here from Blunt Trips, coming to you from the 16,300 block of East Center Drive, and I am coming here for the murder location of the Bennett family. That took place on January 16th, 1984. And that home would be right here. And I will have to be brief on this part of this video just because this is a good neighborhood and there's a lot of people looking for YouTubers out here right now filming. But this is the home that the Bennett family was murdered in. Now this is still an active case. In fact, the accused murderer of this crime has just been extradited back to Colorado. And the court case is still pending. But this is the home where the Bennett family was murdered. There's the garage. Of course, it looks a lot different now. But that is the home where the Bennett family was brutally murdered with hammers. And I'll try and get the chimney from the image and the images that they do have. That is the chimney there. That is the garage. The windows and the door. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this location up and I'll tell you more about the story from the graveyard. But anyways, this is, I am Terry. And you are watching Blunt Trips. And I am going to go ahead and get the fuck on out of here. Stay cool, fuckers. What is up, people? Terry here from Blunt Trips, coming to you from Fort Logan Cemetery here in Denver, Colorado. And we are picking back up on the case of the Bennett family murders, who was murdered January 16th, 1984. And they were murdered by Alexander Hammer Killer Ewing, who is currently sitting in jail awaiting trial on the case, as well as another trial for the murder of Patricia Smith, who was bludgeoned to death just 2 weeks prior to the Bennett family. She was killed out in Lakewood, Colorado. I could not find her grave, but her case was just as important. But anyways, we are out here today to visit the grave of Bruce, Deborah, and Melissa Bennett. Now, Bruce had his throat slit when Alexander entered the home. Alexander grabbed a knife and As Bruce was defending his family, Alexander slit his throat. And then Alexander grabbed a hammer, at which time he beat Bruce to death, caving in his skull. That's how Bruce's mother found him. After Alexander killed Bruce, Alexander proceeded to rape Bruce's wife, Deborah. After he raped her, he then bludgeoned her to death with a hammer too. But he wasn't done yet. After he bludgeoned Deborah and slit the throat of Bruce, Alexander proceeded to make his next victim a 7-year-old who had just turned 7 hours before. And that would be Melissa Bennett, Bruce and Deborah's daughter. Alexander did the same thing to her that he did to Bruce's wife. He raped her and then brutally beat her with a hammer. That wasn't it. There was actually a 4th victim. There was a 4th victim, the Bennett's youngest daughter. Her name was Vanessa. She was 3 years old at the time. And Alex showed no mercy even at her young age. He proceeded to beat her in the face with a hammer, where bones in her face actually exploded into her windpipe from her jaw. She survived. She was in a coma, face all caved in, several injuries, several. But she survived. And she's alive today. I believe she's living out in Phoenix. There's even interviews as recent as last year, I believe. But as for the other 3 members of his family, this is where they lie for eternity. Now, this is an active case. Alexander Ewing was actually extradited to Colorado from Nevada, where he was serving time also from another violent crime. I believe it took place in the 80s, where he beat 2 other people pretty close to death. This guy's got a history of using blunt objects to beat people. Now, the accused murderer, Alexander Ewing, will not stand trial facing the death penalty, no matter what. Colorado does not have the death penalty. There was a chance that he was going to face the death penalty, but because of the timing of his crime, I believe is what made him eligible for the death penalty, because I believe when Colorado did away with the death penalty, it excluded any crimes that were committed before the law was written, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless of that, the state of Colorado has decided not to try Alexander Ewing for the death penalty. So the most he'll face is life in prison with the possibility of parole at 20 years. His victims don't have that opportunity. Again, this is where they lie for eternity. All right. I'm going to wrap up this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please like and subscribe. Go ahead and share this video. Educate your friends on who the Bennetts were. Again, this case started in 1984 and is still yet to be resolved, even though they have now found an accused killer. All right. Again, I am Terry. You are watching Blunt Trips. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, because as usual, as soon as I finish, it's about time for lunch. Oh yeah. And if you look up there, you don't see a cloud in the sky. I beat the weather today for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Till next time, y'all stay cool.